I trusted her with everything, and she burned it all down in a stranger's cabin. We weren't perfect, but we were solid. 5 years together. No kids, a quiet life in a forest town, and a rhythm that felt safe. Until one rainy afternoon walk changed everything. We ran into her old friend from college, now a rugged lumberjack living off-grid just a few miles from our trail. What started as shelter from the storm turned into weeks of lies, secret meetings, and betrayal I didn't see coming, until I caught them with my own eyes. In his bed. In his cabin. While I was supposed to be the one she loved. And that was just the beginning. I never expected to tell this story, but since it's already cost me 5 years, my sanity, and a few shattered illusions, maybe it'll save someone else. Let's just say I, 33M, was one of those guys who believed that love plus loyalty equals forever. Turns out I forgot to factor in, plus old flame hiding in the woods with biceps and bad intentions. My, now ex-wife, let's call her Chloe, and I had been together for 5 years. No kids. Both working remote jobs. We lived a quiet life in the suburbs, had matching coffee mugs, and went on long weekend hikes together. Our idea of a good time was packing up the Jeep, driving to some forest trail, and losing ourselves in the trees. It was one of those hikes where everything started to go wrong. It was early fall. The leaves were turning red, the trail smelled like pine and smoke, and we were about 4 miles into the forest when it started to rain. Not a drizzle, a movie scene level downpour. We were both soaked in seconds. That's when we saw a small wooden cabin through the trees, smoke curling from the chimney. Chloe immediately lit up. "I think I know who lives here." She darted forward before I could say anything. By the time I caught up, she was already knocking on the door like she owned the place. A man answered. Tall. Bearded. Built like he wrestled grizzlies in his free time. Axe leaned against the wall behind him. T-shirt drenched in sweat and sawdust. Name, Ethan. And judging by the look Chloe gave him, they knew each other. Well. Oh my God, Ethan? Chloe? Holy crap, it's been years. Hug. Long hug. Too long. Ethan looked at me like I was just a tree she had brought along for support. No handshake, no smile. Just a polite nod. Come in before you catch pneumonia. The inside of his cabin was rustic, but cozy. Firewood stacked high, an old couch, warm fire, wet clothes hanging over a beam. Chloe and Ethan instantly slipped into conversation like they were in some romantic Netflix flashback. I sat awkwardly by the fire, peeling off my wet jacket, wondering how this guy with the brooding stare and lumberjack aesthetic had been hiding in her past like a landmine. They talked about college. Trips. How she used to call her mocks. I didn't like that. At one point, Chloe laughed and said, God, I used to think we'd live out here together someday. Just the woods, your axe, and no cell signal. I thought it was a joke. I should have known better. We stayed for maybe 40 minutes. I tried to be polite. Ethan barely looked at me. Chloe glowed like someone had just turned her lights back on for the first time in years. When we left, she hugged him again. He gave her his number just in case we wanted to stop by another time. Guess what? We did. Again. And again. After that rainy day in the forest, things shifted, but in that quiet, almost imperceptible way that makes you question whether it's all in your head. Chloe started suggesting hikes more often. But only to that part of the forest. Oh, that trail is so peaceful, she'd say. Let's take that one again. Funny how peaceful always seemed to mean near Ethan's cabin. The second time we stopped by his place, it was just for tea. I didn't think anything of it. He had a kettle going, Chloe brought some cookies as a surprise, and we stayed for maybe an hour. By the fourth time, I noticed the way she dressed for the hikes had changed. Crop tops. A little more makeup. Hair down instead of the usual bun. When I teased her about looking like she was going to a photo shoot, she snapped. God, James. Just because you're okay looking like a soggy flannel doesn't mean I have to. That was new. After a few weeks, I started skipping hikes. I had deadlines. Back pain. Whatever. She didn't mind. In fact, she seemed relieved. It's fine. I'll just walk alone for a bit. Helps me clear my head. I wanted to believe her. I really did. Until the day I forgot my laptop charger. That Sunday, she left for a hike, same trail, same time, and I realized 20 minutes later I'd left my charger in the car. Her car. So I called her. No answer. Figured she had no signal. No big deal. I walked out to the parking garage, opened the passenger door, and there it was. Her other phone. Yeah. The one I didn't know about. It wasn't locked. It wasn't hidden. But it was full of texts. From Ethan. Last night was perfect. Still thinking about you. Can't stop imagining your hands on me again. And then one that punched me straight in the throat. Wish you didn't have to leave so early this time. This time. This time. That's when the world split open. I don't remember the drive. I must have been gripping the wheel, but my knuckles weren't white, they were numb. My heart wasn't racing, it was dead silent, like it was holding its breath, waiting for the wreck. I knew where to go. That same damn trail. That same damn cabin. It had just rained, again, so the path was muddy. I parked the car near the trailhead and walked. No jacket. No plan. Just rage and clarity bleeding into one another with every step. As I got closer to the cabin, I didn't hear voices. I heard moans. That disgusting, unmistakable sound of two people who forgot the world existed. I moved slow, careful not to break a twig, like I was hunting something dangerous. And maybe I was. Through the window, I saw her. Chloe. Legs around Ethan's waist, arms around his neck. Shirt half off, hair a mess, head thrown back. I'll spare you the rest of the visual, I wish I could forget it myself. I didn't burst in like in the movies. I didn't scream or punch anything. I took out my phone, turned on video, and filmed 15 seconds through the window. Then I walked away. But not before I knocked on the door, once, loud enough to startle them. I didn't wait for them to answer. Let them panic. Let them figure out who saw what. I was already halfway back to the car when my phone rang. Chloe. Ignored. 5 missed calls. 10. Then came the texts. James, it's not what it looks like, please pick up. Baby, please, I can explain. We didn't mean for this to happen, it just did. I love you. Not him. It was a mistake. I blocked her. Not because I was angry. Because I was done. But she wasn't. She showed up at our place less than an hour later. Hair still messy. Wearing the same jacket from earlier, zipped up like it could somehow hide her shame. I was sitting in the kitchen, silent, staring at the same mug I'd used that morning, before everything cracked open. She burst through the door like a storm of excuses. James, please. Let me explain. I didn't even look up. I just said. You were supposed to be hiking. She laughed. Laughed. So now you're spying on me? Are you serious? There it was. The deflection. The blame shift. Classic Chloe. I stood slowly, walked over, and held up my phone. Paused on the still frame of her tangled up with the flannel-scented lumberjack. 15 seconds. That's all I needed. Her face drained. For a second, just a second, I thought she'd crumble. Instead, she doubled down. You're unbelievable. You don't touch me for months, and now suddenly I'm the villain? You cheated, Chloe. In our bed would have been bad, but in his house? In front of his fireplace? While telling me you were on a hike. She screamed. I felt alone, James. You shut down after the second year. You turned into this ghost with Wi-Fi. I stared at her like she was a stranger that broke in. Because honestly, that's what she was now. She kept yelling. Pacing. Crying 1 second, snarling the next. You didn't notice when I wore something new. You never asked about my dreams anymore. So you decided to have sex with your old boyfriend in a hunting cabin? She stopped. Mouth shut. Eyes wide. Then quietly, bitterly. I needed to feel wanted again. There it was. Not remorse. Just justification. I walked past her, grabbed my keys, and said 5 words. Get your stuff and leave. She didn't. Not right away. She went into full meltdown mode. Threats, guilt trips, sobbing, I'll change, let's do therapy, all of it. I didn't say another word. I just opened the front door and waited. Eventually, she got the message. After she left, the silence in the house wasn't peaceful. At first, it was unbearable. No slamming cabinets. No sarcastic quips. No perfume hanging in the hallway. Just the echoes of every lie she ever told me. I packed a duffel bag that night and went to stay at a buddy's place in town. The forest felt suffocating now, like it was in on the secret and mocking me with every breeze through the pines. Chloe tried to reach me for days. She left voicemails, crying 1 minute, bitter the next. She sent me a handwritten letter. No apology, just more reasons. More blame. She even emailed me a timeline explaining how it started emotionally and wasn't meant to turn physical. Like that made it better. I didn't respond. But Ethan? He had the nerve to text me too. Didn't plan this, man. It just happened. She came on to me. As if that made it okay. I blocked his number. Considered burning that whole stretch of forest to the ground. Then came the final spark. I was at a local diner, having my first decent coffee in days, when I overheard a couple at the next table talking about the cheating wife in the cabin. Turns out, Ethan had told people. Turned it into a story. Painted himself as the regretful hero. Claimed I neglected her. Said they just found each other again. I saw red. But instead of punching walls, I did something smarter. I wrote. I didn't think much would come of it. One night, I sat down and poured it all out, everything. The hikes, the fake phone, the cabin, the window, the confrontation. All the pain, the absurdity, the betrayal. I left out names. Changed some details. But I made sure every sentence cut like broken glass. I titled it, My wife cheated on me in a cabin with her ex, while telling me she was hiking. I posted it on Reddit. Just to vent. I figured I'd get a few comments. Some sympathy. Maybe a guy or two saying, "Been there, bro." Instead, it exploded. Within a day, thousands of upvotes. People begging for updates. Podcasts started reading it. I got DMs from strangers telling me it gave them the courage to leave their own toxic relationships. Then, an editor from a major online magazine reached out. We want to publish your story, anonymous or credited. Full fee. Interested? Was I interested? Hell yes. They ran the story. It went viral. Millions of reads in 48 hours. A follow-up podcast wanted me to speak. I did, using a fake name and voice filter. The video trended on YouTube. Offers started pouring in, sponsors, guest appearances, even a small book deal for a collection of real-life heartbreak stories. In less than 2 months, I went from betrayed husband to full-time writer, with 6 figures in my bank account. I moved out of the forest. Got a loft in the city. Bought a new truck. And not once, did I answer Chloe's last message. Why are people sending me links to this post? You told the whole world about us? You're disgusting. No, Chloe. I'm free. It's strange. I thought closure would come with screaming. Slamming doors. One final insult. A dramatic exit. But the truth is, closure came quietly. It came when I stopped caring about what Chloe thought. It came when I sat on my balcony, coffee in hand, watching the sun rise without feeling hollow. It came when I logged into my bank account and saw my writing had paid off, not just emotionally, but literally. I had turned my heartbreak into a career. I get emails now, dozens a week, from men and women telling me my story saved them from gaslighting, betrayal, emotional paralysis. People who say, I thought I was crazy, until I read your post. That's the real reward. Not the followers. Not the money. The healing. Chloe? I heard she moved in with Ethan. They broke up a few months later when his ex-wife found out and threatened to take the kids. Classic. She tried texting again. Said she missed the old days. I didn't respond. Blocked her new number too. Because I've moved on. Fully. If you're reading this and you've been betrayed, by someone you trusted, loved, maybe even would have died for, this next part is for you. You didn't lose. They did. They lost the version of you that would have forgiven them. They lost your loyalty, your presence, your quiet strength. They gave up gold for garbage. And you? You found yourself. One scar at a time. One breath at a time. One truth at a time. So don't beg. Don't chase. Don't stoop. Just rise. Because sometimes rock bottom is where the foundation finally sets. And from there, you build. Stronger. Wiser. Unshakable.